Hello, welcome on our news webinar related to ITIL 4 and primarily focused on digital and IT strategy, which was finally released previous month. My name is Jan Hospes. I'm ITIL expert, and I'm in the area of ITIL for decades, I can say, right now. And I would like to tell you a few words about the news which happened in the world of ITIL 4 for the previous, let's say, half the year or something like that. If you look at our agenda, I would like to talk for a while about how the ITIL was implemented, what were the steps. I would like to summarize where are we now from the perspective of the training and things like that. And because some of you could be new to this topic, I would like also to summarize what is ITIL in higher levels of certification than the foundation. So we will go through this. And primarily, I said we would like to focus on what is new with those digital and IT strategy stream which appeared previous month. So we will look inside, we will go through some topics, we will think about why it is so important to be focused on this area. We will then summarize the practices which are inside digital and IT strategy, and because we are interested also in exams, and or I believe that you are interested also in exams. I will talk also about the certification and how you can get the certificates in this area and what will be in front of you after that. Okay, the course of future ITIL actions at the end will be very brief because I will think about what are the next steps for the ITIL, and then there will be space for your questions. At the beginning, I would like to thank to EduTrainings, which provides us with a platform for this webinar. So thanks for that. You know that EduTrainings is providing wide range of trainings, from technical ones to soft skills, including, of course, ITIL. So thanks for that. And we can go to our news. So how was the ITIL 4 implemented? You know, maybe, that the journey of ITIL 4 started at the end of February 2019. And it was a huge surprise for a lot of people that ITIL was introduced just in the foundation level, without other related certification levels. And the reason was very simple. It should just open the doors for the new era of ITIL, and should show that ITIL is also changing the architecture, which will be more flexible, more reacting to the changes. So the whole structure of the ITIL was slightly changed to the core books and the practices which are implemented separately as the source of the best practice from the different area and different perspectives in IT. And we have to wait for a while to stage 2, when in November 2019 was 2 intermediate, or let's say higher levels certificates and books introduced: create, deliver, and support, and direct, plan, and improve. And it was, again, logical step. Because create, deliver, and support was primarily focused on the core activities in IT, which are connected more to operational and tactical level. So basically, majority of what is described in create, deliver, and support is somehow connected to the tasks and duties which you can find in any company, and at some level it is already implemented. But create, deliver, and support should help them to integrate those practices and knowledge and technologies in a new way of thinking. And you can see my previous webinars when we are talking about the structure of the ITIL and how it is set up. But what I would like to say is that create, deliver, and support was primarily focused on the operational part. Direct, plan, and improved, on the other hand, is more perspective of the management. So the management who is interested in setting up properly the IT and the structure and the way of working, and would like to understand what to measure and how to direct the company, found the answers in this book and in this training. So this was the first intermediate stage, which helps to build the capabilities in the companies related to ITIL 4 framework. Then, after a few months, at March 2020, two other books were introduced: Drive Stakeholder Value, more focused on the communication with the stakeholders and their focus, and High Velocity IT, which is the different perspective on the flexibility of the IT itself. Yeah, and we will talk about this a little bit later, so I will pass it for further slides. And I will move forward to stage 4, when there is a digital and IT strategy. And it was promised at first half of 2020, and we were very curious if the Axelos and PeopleCert will fulfill their promises and will give us really the book Digital and IT Strategy, which should look at the IT from the perspective of the leaders, from the perspective of long distance, and from the perspective of the strategy itself. Yeah, it was not fully achieved, because this digital and IT strategy was released at 5th September of 2020. But it was caused because of the corona situation, and it is complicated in many areas. So I think that Axelos and PeopleCert, even this delay is acceptable for all of us, and it's a good achievement. So right now, this publication is released, and we are, looking forward. And I will mention this later. So I will move it to further slides and switch to where are we now. This is part where I would like to talk about the certification and certification scheme. It is very, very simple right now. When you look at this, the green part is what is already covered. So if you are interested in any topic related to create, deliver, support, to direct, plan, and improve. So 80% of the whole portfolio of ITIL for trainings and certifications, it is already covered. And in November 2020, we are prepared and we believe that it will be tuned, the training for ITIL leaders, digital and IT strategy. So the only one remaining on this path will be ITIL Master, and we will mention this later. So you see that this is why we did this webinar, because the new thing in this portfolio is digital and IT strategy, and we will look inside what is there hidden and what could interest you from this perspective. But because some of you could be new to ITIL, I have here a few slides where I would like to review and summarize ITIL higher levels of certification purposes and look a little bit inside, just to summarize in your mind why we should go in this or that direction. So let's move forward. Create, deliver, and support. From my perspective, not just from my perspective, it is the engine room of any company. I'm not saying IT, because currently when we are talking about ITIL, we are not talking just about IT, but we are talking about the collaboration between IT and the business. And you know that in many companies you can find that those functions are more and more integrated. But from the perspective of this create, deliver, and support stream or book, it is aiming to support IT practitioners and leaders, let's say for the whole life cycle of the service, from the perspective of the whole life cycle of the service delivery and support. Yeah, so what is included in here is everything from the development of the services through the delivery, through the build part and test part and support part and monitoring. So as I said, it is mainly focused on, let's say, design, transition, and operation part. So if you know those terms from previous ITIL 3 version, and you are interested in those areas, here in Create, Deliver, and Support, you can see them, but from a different perspective, because it is more interconnected. As you know that the part of the engine is not working separately. In Create, Deliver, and Support, ITIL 4 is trying to combine them together to show you how the flow and value stream of the services go through your organization. If we look at practices which are inside, it is obvious that what I said is true, that majority of those practices like incident management, problem management, release management, deploy management, change management, which has new name, change enablement in ITIL 4th edition, all those are somehow implemented in companies, but in Create, Deliver, and Support, it is interconnected, and it is shown how it is working together to support the overall flow of the service delivery and support. If we are talking about drive stakeholder value, I would say that this is something like a dance floor of the company. What I mean, the place where you meet each other, where you are interfacing with each other, where you are building and fostering all the relationship, where it could start and it could end. But what you are trying is to dance good, in a good way, to understand how to dance, what is nice and what is not. Yeah, and this is where the drive stakeholder value is aiming. It is aiming about understanding the stakeholders, not just customers. I know that customers are one of the most important stakeholders. Yeah, of course, we are delivering services with a purpose to support them and their journey and their objectives. Yeah, but it should be in a balance. You cannot deliver the services in a way which is not stable. So what you need to do is you need to understand also the back end of the service delivery, and you need to interconnect those things. So primarily, yes, it is focused on the values of the customers and the users, and there's demand and there's experience and there's expectation and there's value. But also it is focused on the way how to do your products and services in a way which is stable and which can be delivered in the long term. If we look inside, you can see that majority of those practices are focused on building and fostering relationships with users and customers. So you cannot do that without service level management, without relationship management on the operational and the strategic level. And of course, you cannot do that without service desk, which is the main point of communication with the users. Yeah? Base for that is created by the service catalog, by the business analysis, so by the portfolio of your services, by the portfolio management, which can give you a topic based on which you can communicate, based on which you can build and grow your relations with the stakeholders, based on which you can define and understand the value. So this is how the drive stakeholder value is focused. And it's not focused on just one part of the whole customer journey, but it is describing the whole journey from the beginning till the end, and how the relation with the IT and the business is building and working. If we are talking about high velocity IT, I think it is good to say that this is something like a gas pedal of the company. Of course, it's primarily focused on the people who can, push this gas pedal. So IT managers and leaders who can, change the speed and the direction of your company or teams or services are in the group of the focus of this training. And primarily, it is about the speed of change around us. So high velocity IT in here is focused on how to change your products and deliver products and services and the way of their delivery in a way which is more flexible, which is more agile. Yeah. So if you look at this slide, you see here lean, agile, and DevOps way of working, and I believe that many of you are able to understand what we are talking about. But high velocity IT is not just about those concepts. It is about how to integrate them, how to change the way of working in your company so those lean, agile, and DevOps way of working can work together and can enable your company to deliver services in the high velocity in very dynamic environment. And of course, it's connected to automations and ability to interconnect development cycle with the cycle of the operations and things like that. If we look inside to practices, you see again that there are some practices connected to more technical parts, which are in here, but some of them are working or talking also about the way of working inside your company. Yeah. Okay. Let's move to direct, plan, and improve. From my perspective, this is something like a control center of your company or other companies. Why? You need to know what is happening to be able to change the direction and to know that you are still on the road. And this direct, plan, and improve part of the ITIL 4 is aiming to that. You know what is your strategy, but you need to ensure that the strategy is working, and it's not easy things to do. So those who are looking for hints and guidance how to enable strategy in your new strategy, for example, in your organization, who should manage those organizational changes which are in front of you, can be the group interested in this. And it's not just about understanding what to measure and how to interpret things. It's also about ability to run it in circles, move it forward in some continuous quality. Yeah, because if you do something on one time period, it is not working. You need to enable continual improvement in your company, and this part of the ITIL 4 is focusing on that. And it's visible because continual improvement practice is included in here, as well as your ability to identify the risks which are around you and which you would like to avoid. And finally, we are in digital and IT strategy. From my perspective, brain and eyes of the company. But don't forget, if you would have just a brain and eyes, it is good that you can see things, you can see forward, you can have your vision, and you are able to understand it, and you can, find the way how to get there, but without and I will return back to this direct plan and improve without your ability to interpret things and align it to your organization, it is just, halfway on your journey. But it is still important. When we are talking about digital and IT strategy, we are talking about something which should be available to all directors. Doesn't matter if they are from IT or from the business part, and those people who should contribute to definition of the vision, to definition of the strategy itself, should be aware of this digital and IT strategy part of the ITIL 4. It is about guidance for them, how to run organizational changes, how to not just define the strategies in still changing world, but it is also about integrating them together, and ensuring that they are understandable and they are applicable to their companies. If we look inside, you see that the majority in here is focused on the strategy management. Okay, here you are defining your strategy, but strategy based on your portfolio of services. So ability to understand your portfolio for the future, for now, ability to understand the financial concepts and context of your decision is key to be able to identify all those risks. And at the end, last but not least, is the workforce and talent management. So this is about how to have the right people in your organization, how to manage them, how to give them abilities so your strategy is applicable and it's working in your company. And we will, talk about those things also later a little. I mean, all those things, but this is just the summary overview of what you can find in here. And don't forget one thing, that instead of the fact that we are mentioning here just a few practices from the whole list, it is somehow, of course, interconnected to the rest. But the focus of digital and IT strategy, logically, is on those whose impact, the major impact, is in the strategic level of the management in your company. Why we should talk about the strategy? And I think this is, by the way, key topic in digital and IT strategy part of the ITIL, and I bring few slides to think about this topic and maybe show you some inspiration, show you how to look at this part of the ITIL. And now this is it. You know that we are in the world which is still changing, and it is not something which can surprise you. But what is change in here is that, previously IT should adapt to changes in the world. Currently, the technology and IT can change the world. And if you can understand this difference, it can help you a lot to understand what is behind digital and IT strategy. And I showed you, or I'm showing you, a few examples of the companies who really understand what is behind. Yeah? And yes, some of them are primarily focused on the technology, but some of them are not connected primarily to technology, but their business is somewhere else. But they understand that the technology is the huge enabler of their business, and the technology is something what they do not underestimate, and they use it to support their growth. Yeah. If you look at this slide, by the way, you have here a source. You can you look by yourself to the different data which are interesting. Here you can see what is happening every minute of every day in 2020. And I would like to show you just one example from this. Yeah. Something unimaginable is that every minute YouTube users are uploading 500 hours of video in YouTube in every minute. Yeah. And it is, showing and highlighting how important technology is, because you have 1 minute. You are not able to see 500 hours of video within 1 minute. So you definitely need to have technology to support your way of working in such a environment, because the interactions with your users can be so huge that without planning, without proper strategy, without understanding it, without adapting technology and looking for emerging technologies, you are not able to achieve such goals. So this is what is hidden inside. And another reason why digital and IT strategy is important is that there is not change just on the side of the IT and the perspective related to technology, but there is change also in the way how we are working and how we are doing the business. And here is the example from the Czech Republic, and I don't want to make an advertisement to Surrey, yeah, but I would like to show that this is not just thing which is happening, somewhere in the world. It is happening also in here in Czech Republic, and you can see this example as a change of the business model. There are many insurance company, many bank institutions who are already providing their services for decades, but Shuri identified that there is an opportunity to change the way how they are delivered to the users, and they combine that under one umbrella. So you do not need, to communicate with many institutions, and Surrey's added value is in that. Yeah. So they are not directly, providing any loans or insurances or things like that. They are just reselling things and adding some value. Yeah, and there are many opportunities like that. So it's not enough to deliver something. You need to think about the user and the customer and their experience and their journey and their ability to understand. And you need to build your excellence in that. And you need to set up your strategy to achieve that. This is the reason why I'm mentioning this. And there are many parts on IT which needs to be changed. Yeah? And I don't want to go in details in this. I'm just trying to show you that to be able to adapt to those changes in business models, you need to understand that this change will not come from outside or from inside. You need to manage both parts of this, and your strategy should support that, because majority of mentioned points which are in here cannot be achieved within minute, within hour, within month. You need to build it continuously within your company as a capability. So this is the reason why it is important to think about the strategy. And business models are changing, and I mentioned that. Why? Because everything around is changing. Yeah? If you look at your environment, at your social group, you can see that the people are adapting to the fact that the technology is around us. It is normal part of our life, and we are taking this as a fact. So sometimes in wanted or unwanted way, our behavior is changed based on that. Yeah? And based on that change, we are expecting different thing. If I know that I'm able to, work from my home, and I can deliver the value directly to anywhere in the world, I'm expecting that the services which I'm consuming will do the same, will support me. And what is important, it is not just about the services, it is also the change of thinking. Because in companies you can see that the skill set which is needed from the people is now different. Why? Because you don't want to have just very specific experts. I mean, narrow experts which are focused on just one topic. What you need is to build in the people ability to adapt, to ensure that in case that something is changing, they are able to play a different role, and they are somehow comfort with that. Yeah? And this is why you need to think about strategy. And here is an example of the technology shift in the area of user support. And I had it in a previous webinar maybe, and I showed that in some conference. And it's not important. I mean, the content of this is not important. The important is message. What I want to say, showing this, is that if you look at the evolution of the user support, the evolution was focused on finding appropriate channel and adapting the channel of the communication according new technologies, up to the point where omni-channel management philosophy or concept was introduced. Since that, we are not talking about single technology supporting the journey of the customers and users. We are talking about your ability to support them through whatever channel they want. And if you want to achieve this stable quality of communication and relation within all technological and non-technological platform, it is not just about building one thing. It is about setting up appropriately strategy and step by step trying to ensure that all the bricks or building bricks you are using to set up your company are working not alone but together. And what is also important thing which is related to digital and IT strategy is that the role of IT is changing. And of course, this is not on the slide, is not the IT, this technological leader or technology leader. Why? Because sometimes it is not just about IT, but I will talk about IT. Yeah, what I'm trying to show you on this slide is that change. Yeah, and I already used this. I just upgraded this slide to show you one thing. At the history, IT was in here for just enthusiasts who just want to prove that they can use ones and zeros to do something. Yeah. And maybe, their aim was to do it just for themselves, to satisfy them. But they believe that it has, some sense. And as a next step, there were people who can see farther than others. And they said, yes, we can use the IT to break the borders around us. And when they succeeded, the business identify, yes, okay, it's stable and we will use it. We will use it to improve our business and we will use the IT to increase the revenue and goals and all those things. But now, now, the technology is widely available to almost every person. Yeah, and it will be, because if you look at those internet over satellites, which should be available everywhere around the world, also the people who currently do not have access to technology, they will have access when it will be finished and implemented. Yeah, so it is still, spreading around, and currently there is a question not about the technology, but supporting what is important for us. So from our perspective, the closer the technology is, we are thinking about her more in the background. Yeah, so it is currently supporting us as a humanity. And, to be a little bit controversial, I was thinking in some conference about what will be next. Yeah, we will support the machines. I don't know. But what is important, we are still moving forward, and that movement is faster and faster. So this is why you need to know where you are aiming to be able to adapt that. At this slide, I'm just showing the evolution of the IT from the black box where business was not aware what the IT is doing, and IT was just, the aim of the IT was to support the business needs through the supplier role, where the business is able to optimize the business and look how the IT and technology is connected to the business processes, and it evolved to the partner, where the partner could, talk together with the business and open some doors which are not visible for business themselves. Yeah. But from my perspective, the next move in here is to do or to be a playmate with the business. IT and the business together in one company, in one block, which is not having borders in between, and is able to think about the innovations. And at this point, the IT role is not just to support the business, not to open the doors, but it is also to think about the innovations on the side of the business. So the IT at this role can innovate the business from their perspective. And this is, that digital era, which is already here, and the digital and IT strategy is aiming about understanding this and ability to think in this direction. I don't want to talk about this slide a lot. I'm just showing in here that IT has to be prepared to many things. Yeah, it is not about the technology. It is about ability to adapt, it is ability to influence social topics, it is ability to provide the services across the globe and still have the control. And this is why you need to think about in further. And this is similar to this slide. IT currently has a lot of things connected to them. They should be friendly, they should be responsible from the social perspective, a lot of things. And it is similar as if you look to that slide with what is happening every minute on the internet. You can say, okay, every minute on the internet, I have here 500 hours of new videos on YouTube. I cannot, look at that by myself. It's not possible, and it is not possible for IT to be all that stuff which is in here without thinking forward. Yeah? You need to be step ahead of this. This is why thinking about strategy is important, and it's still accelerating. So you need to be innovative, you need to speed up, and you need to keep your control. And I don't want to talk about those slides which are in here in detail. I'm just trying to show you that a lot of things were changed. And for example, if you look at the regular day of the regular person 50 years, 20 years, 10 years ago, you can see that different. Because right now we have everything so close to us. We can work in a different way. We do not need to own a thing. We do not need to store things, because everything is accessible at the moment we want it. And this is what is also expected from us and our services. And it's not, just that, because when you look at the technologies in the last 10 years, you can see a huge shift forward in the change. You can see the change in the working. You can see the change in the automotive. You can see the change in the factories, in the service delivery, in your regular home life. Yeah? And it is supported by a lot of new technologies introduced. And I don't want to talk about that, but just for an example, I see here virtual reality. You can imagine that right now, and it is a reality, you can use virtual reality to support the surgery on the other part of the globe. Yeah, and the doctors, can be interconnected, discuss online things, and updating or supporting the skills of each other through such kind of technology. And it's something what was unbelievable a few years ago. Yeah? And everything is speeding, everything is more available. So that's it. I don't want to talk about it in detail, but it is why digital and IT strategy is important, why you need to think about that. And what is inside in here? I don't want to talk in detail, but yes, very important is to understand that digital and IT strategy is not the checklist. Yeah, we will not be able to give you a checklist what to do, and we will not be able to give you the document where your strategy is described. And it's not aim of digital and IT strategy. The aim of that is to build the capability in you to think about the future, to think about what is coming, to think about how you are set up, to be able to think about current and future strategy, to support your way of thinking, so the innovation will be somewhere inside you. And this is what we are trying to achieve with digital and IT strategy. If you look at that book, there, 2/3 of that is thinking or talking about strategy itself. And I don't want to go in details, and just to explain why here is a continual improvement model is that to lead you through this logic, this continual improvement model is used to support your thinking about the strategy itself. But the rest of the book is focused on the ability to build key capabilities in you in this new world, to understand what is needed, how you need to innovate, how you need to think about threats and opportunities, and how you need to structure your company, your business, your organizational structure, your way of working, all of those are included in here. Here are some concepts. We will not talk about them in detail, just to show you what is inside of that. And you can see that there is from the vision to the orchestration of everything in your company through the financial aspects related to the strategy. There are a lot of things, and we are trying to use them to build your skills. To summarize and remind the practices, the majority in here is focused on strategy, through money, through threats and opportunities, through your portfolio of the services as a base for your strategy, through ability to see, through the measurement and reporting, architecture management, and the most, or from my perspective, one of the most important thing, ability to find and properly manage the people and their talents. And as I said, and I promised that I will talk also about the examination, because maybe some of you are thinking about the exam related to digital and IT strategy. Exam is separated to two parts. First is the practical assignment, which is part of the training, and during the training you will get those practical assignments based on the case studies, where are three fictive companies, but based on the reality, which you can use. And at the end, it is graded by the trainer, which has the assessment metrics. And if you pass, and it is important, you need to pass before the exam. You can take the exam just when you pass those assignments. Yeah? If you do that, you will get to the part 2, which is a multiple choice exam with 30 questions, 60 minutes. If you are non-native speakers, you have 15 minutes more. And it is closed book. Yeah, I didn't mention that on the previous one. You can do those assignments with open book, so it is not the test of your knowledge, but test of your ability to use it, and test of your ability to analyze situation, propose the solution. And the part 2, the multiple choice, is closed book exam, where you need to achieve 70% to pass, and then you will be an ITIL leader. If you already did direct, plan and improve, and we will talk about future. Okay, this part is focused just on this, on ITIL master, because you know that the rest, foundation, higher level, intermediate level, and it is already covered. And Axelos and PeopleCert promised that at the early month of 2021, we will have new information or more information about this certification level ITIL master. So I believe and I hope that at the first half of 2020, ITIL master will be available for those who will already achieve managing professional together with strategic leader stream, which will open the door in here. Axelos and PeopleCert are promising that it will be more available to the people than the previous ITIL master, which was very complicated. So we will see. No other informations are right now available about that. Okay, conclusion. Just to summarize, think why digital and IT strategy, why it is so important. It, delivered almost the last piece of the puzzle, which is looking at the ITIL 4 from the perspective of the strategy. It helps to understand not just the insights of the ITIL itself, but how to interconnect them at the strategic level. It is supporting your ability to change the strategy, to adapt your business processes and, or not just business processes, but IT and business processes and business models. And what is important, this is the last piece of the puzzle, which can help you to start your journey to digital transformation, or can support your already started journey with the different perspective on what you are doing right now, to ensure that your view is full and complete. And that's it. Thank you for your attention. Thank you that you were listening up to this point. Thank you to EduTraining that they provided us with the time and platform to give you those information. I hope it was useful for you, and I will look forward to give you some news when it will be available again. So have a nice day. Enjoy rest of your week, and see you on the next webinar.